What's up, Sales Ascender? Happy Wednesday. In this video, I'm going to share 6 voice modes and sounds prospects will make that will help you to close the deal. This one's going to be a good one. Stay tuned. Sales Ascender Sean here, back again at you with another high-ticket tune-up. Thank you for being here with me today. Hope your week is going very, very well. And let's just jump right into it. As I mentioned, there's 6 voice modes and noises that you're going to want to know about when you're speaking with a prospect, because this is the stuff that's going to allow you to close the deal. So first and foremost, as we enter episode number 115 here in this season, check this out. Your tone is beautiful. What does a voice tone mean when you're in a sales conversation? Very important to know this. It's used for comfort, or it's used to challenge somebody, right? You can always be in a conversation with a prospect and they may be using a very comforting or soothing tone, or they may be a little bit more aggressive or passive aggressive and speaking with you in a way such that it's challenging you as a sales professional. You as a sales professional also need to watch your language, because your tone, whether it's good or bad or high or low or different, makes a humongous difference. If we go into the 3 types of communication, we have verbal communication. We know that's about 7% of what anybody actually says, is the words that people are saying, is 7% of that, right? 38% of that is going to be the way you say what you say. And then the remainder is like 55% or so is the actual body language. That's why we're covering body language today. So we're looking at, for tone, is that 38% of your prospects saying what they say. So this is a big number. We got to pay attention to this, right? You can alter your tone for perception. If you want to portray confidence, typically a slower speech path, a little bit deeper voice. If you get a little nervous, your voice is going to go up a little bit. You might, or excited, right? So you'll be talking a little bit faster. So you can listen to how your prospect is speaking with you in a conversation, and you'll know immediately, like, oh my gosh, this person is speaking really fast. They're either really nervous or really excited. And then from there, in the context, you can guide yourself in the right way to manage the sales conversation. Important. And lowering your voice is key. Whenever you're actually taking a sales conversation to the next level and you want a prospect to get involved with a product or service so you can make an impact with them, trust me on this, lower your voice just like half an octave or as much octaves as you can lower it. Speak a little bit slower, because when you do this, it's protruding confidence, and confidence is the key, right? So lowering your voice is a pro tip that I'll share with you as a sales pro. When you're speaking with prospects, lower your voice a little bit. It will help you to close more deals. Let's move on and talk about pitch. What's pitch? Pitch can be high, low, and indifferent, right? When nervous, your pitch raises. It gets really high like this, and I can't talk about it. You know what I'm saying? So when your pitch goes up, your speed of speech goes up, typically meaning you're either stressed or excited. That's what that means. When your voice cracks, this is usually 95% of the time because somebody has a bunch of nerves or they're stressed, right? Think about going and watching somebody doing a opera singing or for their first time, and then they're going on the stage for the very first time and they're in front of thousands of people. Like, they're going to be nervous and they start singing and that voice cracks. Guess what? That's because of stress. That's not because they're not trained professionals. It's just because it's overwhelming them with the environment. So if you hear your prospects start to crack in a conversation, do what you can do to change the environment so that they're not nervous or stressed out. That's your job as a sales professional. Ask the questions. It's probably not you. It's probably something that's going on in their world, because everybody has something going on in the world all the time, and you're entering into their stream, right? So it's your job as a sales pro to be very observant and call things out. When you do, prospects will appreciate this and you will close more deals. You'll grab greater bond and rapport. Moving on, you've heard 2 of them. We're going to get to the other 4 now. The next one is up talk. What is up talk? What is up talk? So at the end of a sentence, it's where you raise your pitch, right? So inflecting tone at the end of a declarative sentence, meaning if you're going to say a declarative sentence about something like that, you see how in something, when my voice up talk goes up, with the pitch goes up like this is up talk. Now, up talk is a very negative thing to do. I would highly encourage you to change the emphasis of the up talk from the end of your sentence to the preposition that's going to help you in the next sentence. So that's way a lot of English and grammar. Let me explain it in layman terms, because that might help you. So see how I just said that word so? So it's and, but, if, so. So the prepositions in your English language, emphasize those words. So it's like, and that's where you want to uptone or up talk, right? don't do it at the end of the sentence, and do it on that preposition. But, or when you emphasize those words, it's a great pattern interrupt when you're speaking with a prospect, and you'll hold their attention for a longer period of time. Very, very valuable tip here. I learned this one from Phil DeFranco. I've been studying his voice speaking. He's got a massive YouTube channel, and all he does on the prepositions, he just yells them out. So he's like, and it's almost like he's changing a topic. It causes the prospect or the person watching to re-engage or refocus on what he's actually talking about. So up talk, when you use it at the end of a sentence, very bad. Don't do it, right? It shows a lack of confidence because it's iffy, right? So like when you say it, it's you know what I mean, right? That's the up talk, right? At the end of the sentence, it lacks confidence. But if you change you see how I just did it? But if you change the emphasis onto the preposition right after that sentence, like I just shared with you, and, or, but, if, those things, you'll actually hold rapport and hold retention a lot better of your prospects' attention. Moving on, up talk, that's up talk. What do we need to talk about with stuttering and stammering? Yes, this can be something that's pathological. This is something that can be inherited. But guess what? Any person on earth can overcome stuttering or stammering. If you are those people, it's okay. Just know that you should be 100% certain that you can overcome that, right? It can be debilitating. I know several people that have stuttering issues, and it's taken them a long time. Like they had to actually go and figure out a different job or a different pathway in life because their speech they wanted to figure out something where they didn't have to use their speech. And so it changed the courses of certain people that I know's life. And typically, see, I just did, and that's where high stress. So like whenever there's a stress line, so everybody has a certain stress line, there's going to be indicators that push you over the stress line. And when that happens, the stress comes up. And typically, stuttering is something that you can hear or listen to very quickly. If you hear somebody kind of stuttering like this, that might mean they're in stress mode. Typically, I will find this in a sales conversation when we get towards that place where we do the close. People get nervous to make decisions. It's just the way that it is. And so everybody has their own process and everything else, but it's fine. Just reassure. That is the secret. When you hear somebody starting to stutter, if you're making a point as a sales professional, reassurance is your best friend, right? If it's something that's pathological or they've inherited some other way, you'll be able to tell that early in the conversation, be able to deal with it. So if you hear someone stutter, use reassurance. That's the answer. Let's go on. We'll talk about a delay in answering. So say someone like a prospect asks you, the sales professional, a question, or you as a sales professional ask the prospect a question and they delay. What does this mean? Well, it's not always lying or buying time. It's not always that. Most people assume this, and that's the wrong thing to assume. Now, if it is the person who needs to buy more time and they're guilty, they may need more time to think. When this happens, the way to decipher this in a sales conversation is continue asking about this, reframe the same question and ask it again. And if that prospect can answer the same question the same way twice in a row or even 3 times in a row, then they're not guilty. But if they give you a different answer that doesn't even make sense the same time, you just reframe the same question, guess what? You just caught them in a red-handed lie. If they're honest, it means they need time to contemplate. Sometimes, especially in like Native American cultures, complexity of the question or contemplating the question that's coming from somebody is a very valued time for somebody to sit there and think. So as a sales professional, do yourself a humongous favor, button the lips. Button the lips. Let me say that again. Button the lips, right? When you ask a question, one question, wait for an answer before you say anything else. A lot of sales pros stumble on this, right? I used to do it all the time. And how I got over it was I created this 3 to 5 second rule. Depending on how bad I had it when I first started, I said, I'm going to ask a question, I'm going to count to 5. And I can't say anything in my head until after I've counted to 5. I'd be like, so what do you think about this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if they hadn't answered by that time, then I would be able to speak. Now, that tremendously helped my sales game. So just a pro tip for you. If you find yourself speaking too much, and the best, again, here's the statistic, 60 minutes of a sales call, let's say it's 60 minutes, right? 1 hour. You should never talk as a sales professional more than 17 minutes. And that's it. So use a stop timer. Every time you just have it in your hand, every time you start talking, click it on. Every time you stop talking, click it off. Or record your calls and then go back and actually time it, because it might be a little bit challenging to time it while you're doing it. But I promise when you get the ratios down, you'll see the closes go up. That's just what happens, right? So, and it's okay to be, if a prospect takes time to delay, also plays into personality profiling, right? If you have somebody who's a steady relater or somebody who's more of a conscientious thinker, like the engineering type, these people need time to process thought before they can speak. That's how their brains work. Versus if you have a decisive or dominant person or an influencing person, they'll immediately just say what's on the top of their mind. This is another indicator where you can tell what personality they have. And then when you act in the similar filter, guess what? Bonding and connecting is very easy. The rapport part is easy at that point. A couple of tips there for you. Also, stress and fatigue can be a factor in this. If somebody's dead tired, you ask them a question, they just like be zoned out and be like, oh, wait, what was the question again? Right? Like, and it's just, so you got to be in the context of the situation, but just know stress and fatigue can be a factor. And last today, we just want to talk about silence. What does this mean? Well, it means A, somebody can't remember the information. B, it's intentional, like silence as a void. Sales pros use this all the time as a party favor, as a super powerful trick to use silence and get your prospect to actually speak up. I did it yesterday. It's uncomfortable even to this day for me to do it, but give yourself like an 8 to 10 second break after you ask a question. It's uncomfortable, but your prospect will always rescue you. Don't worry about it, right? And sometimes this happens when somebody gets shocked or a full reassessment is needed. Like if something just comes over and hits them blindside, they're like, what? Like that silence is because of that. So just be in the context of the situation. Again, usually it's because somebody can't remember some information, or sometimes if they're very, very good, it's because they're using it intentionally. I hope this helped you today. Again, we're going to continue on this pathway, this journey to learn the body language when it comes to sales conversations. And I hope it's valuable for you. I know it's really valuable for me. It's something I hold near and dear to my heart. I love this topic. Don't forget, there's a sales ascender in each and every one of you. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, share this to somebody who cares, and we'll see you next time.